What is up, my good people of the internet? Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We appreciate your patience here this morning. We got a lot of stuff to show off. We got a lot of things going on here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Always happy to be here. Always looking forward to our conversations. I do want to let everybody know that over the weekend we honored my great aunt Sue, who passed away at the wonderful, beautiful, many years that she had, age of 98. So this show is in dedication to you, Aunt Sue. We love you and we miss you. And as you did in your life here on earth, your remembrance brought us together. So thank you for everything that you did to bring us together when you were here, and you continue to bring us together as you're now back in heaven. So this is for you. That being said, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'? Always happy to be here hanging out with you where sports meets life, and we have a great broadcast set up for you here today. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT. Of course, you're with us there live, and you can also go there by just following the link, facebook.com/Wake Up Call DT, youtube.com/Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're connected with the show, thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Today is a Murph Monday. You know what it is. So Brendan Murphy joining me here. We start off the weeks on Wake Up Call with Murph joining the show. And Murph and I got a lot of stuff to get into. We're going to start things off inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' by speaking on our new sports card finds that we have. GG Cards and Breaks, and very excited to connect with them, give them a shout out, because a lot of the stuff that you're about to see on my end comes from GG Cards and Breaks. So excited to bring that to you, and excited to have that here with you this morning. So very much looking forward to sharing with you all the good stuff that Brendan and I have that we have found. And then we'll get into the college football playoff, the new 5+7 format, the rules. What does it all mean, and does it really change anything? And then we'll get into Major League Baseball spring training, because your boy could not be more excited than ever about spring training. I'm ecstatic. The day that the season ended for these gentlemen, the Arizona Diamondbacks, I said, let's go to spring training tomorrow. So with that being said, Murph is in the building, kind of. We're picture in picture with each other. Murph, how we doing?
Doing well, DT. Just want to start out the show by sending my condolences to you.
Thank you.
It's one of those things 98 years old. That is, God bless her, man. That is one life well lived.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Yeah, and she's just awesome, and I was talking to family, and I said, there's no good time to lose a great one. And not that we've lost her. I mean, we know where she is, but there's no good time to say goodbye to a great one. And I knew that with my grandmother, who was almost 101. You appreciate that they've lived a long life, but do I want my grandmother here every day? Absolutely. And it speaks to the life that you live when people truly miss you, whether you were here for 5 minutes or 100 years, 98 years. So, I mean, Aunt Sue, she's the only person that ever made me linguine and clams, and I think subconsciously I haven't had it since. And I don't know if I'm ever going to eat it again. I kind of want that to be like her dish. Like, she gave me linguine and clams that she made in the house in her kitchen. And, I had it with her and my Uncle Pat, who passed away a few years ago, and he was 99. So, I mean, I'm very proud and I'm honored to know them. I'm proud and I'm honored that they welcomed me into their home. And he was in World War II, and we spoke a lot about it. And I did a show with my Uncle Carmen, my Aunt Mary, my Uncle Pat, and my Aunt Sue about World War II and about their service in it, their connection to it, and that conversation with the four of us, which I'm probably going to share again this week. We just sat around the table at my Uncle Pat and Aunt Sue's house, and we had donuts and we talked. And, now they're all in heaven. So, appreciate your loved ones. Have conversations. Go see them. Call them. Hug them. Kiss them. When you go to leave, hug them and kiss them again. You have to know this, folks. There is not a day that goes by that you need to be wasting. You need to be purposeful with your time. You need to be meaningful with your moments and just love the ones that you love, man. So remember that, please, because that has hit me very clearly these last couple weeks, these last couple days. So love you, Aunt Sue, and this one's for you. So let's get into it. And I'm excited to be here with you, Murph. Thank you for your kind words as always. And, love all around, man. You know I love you. So I appreciate you very much. And I love that we're here. So DT and Murphy, we're going to talk about sports cards. Shout out to GG Cards and Breaks, our proud sports card partner here on Wake Up Call. We're going to get into college football, and we're going to get into spring training for Major League Baseball. So, Murph, I got a ton of stuff. I got stuff at trade night, which happens monthly. GG Cards and Breaks. Sometimes we're at the Wildcat. Sometimes we're at the shop on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. So I got some stuff from there. And then I also opened some stuff. And then I won some things. So would you like me to start? Would you like to start? What would you like to do?
Take it away.
All right. So I'm going to do what I got at trade night. That's what I'm going to do first. We're going to put that right here. So I'm going to save that one for last. So there's a guy that's at trade night, and, shout out to all my people that collect, sports cards in general, and to my people that collect Syracuse related sports cards as well. And they were like, hey, Dan, can you bring your cards out to us? Like, can we see some of the SU stuff that you have? And there's one guy that's out there collecting, and he reached out to me and was like, can you send this over? I said, sure, or bring them over. So I brought out a bunch of my stuff. I have a ton of signed things. I have a Rakeem Christmas National Treasures white jersey to 10. I have a booklet of Malachi Richardson with 2 different pieces of jersey, or maybe it's the same jersey 2 different ways. I don't know. Or maybe I think it's a jersey in the shorts maybe, but it's that and his autograph. So I have some cool stuff, but I didn't get rid of any of my autograph stuff or any of my things that I really, really like, but I just picked up, we made like Donovan McNabb for a Donovan McNabb, and then I got a little Marvin Harrison from one of the gentlemen out there. And then I got these because I don't have any, and I've been looking for cards that are in really good shape, that are potentially gradable, that are Tua rookies. So I got a clear one of Tua, and I got the absolute rookie of Tua. And these are ones that I did it in a trade. It was a trade for one of my Bijans, and I got a ton of stuff for it. I also got this nice sparkled rookie of Breece Hall.
That's a cool one.
So I got that one. I got a bomb squad of Bijan. So I got a Bijan in I've been doing that a lot. When I have a card in a trade, I end up getting the same player back in some respect. I got this Action Stars Corbin rookie to add to my plethora of Corbins. I got a Goodwin Champions rookie of Jackson Holiday where he looks like he's 12 years old. Got that one.
I mean, he basically is. He's, I think, 19.
Yeah, I got a Mystique that's got some clear to it of Mr. Trevor Lawrence. This one's not a rookie. I got a Chandler Jones, so to add to my Syracuse collection. I've never had this. I have a Chandler Jones auto. And then I got this refractor rookie of Trayvon Walker from the owner, Mr. Josh Gideon. And I got a refractor of Trevor Lawrence. And then I got this, and and Josh asked me if I got this because of separation anxiety, and I said yes. I got because I sold my rookie patch auto to him of Nick Chubb. He said, if you're going to give this to somebody walking down the street, I'd rather it be in my collection than anywhere else. And I said, okay. So I found a numbered Nick Chubb jersey card, a little patch card here, Nick Chubb, that's the Jersey Kings, that I thought was really cool. And then I got this for $20. The guy was, I think, trying to swindle me a little bit, and I checked comps on it, and comps were there was like $11.49, and then he found $50 and $49.99, and I found that, but then like I looked at the February's, and it was like $20. It was $22, somewhere around there. So I offered him $20 for this refractor of Caitlin Clark. So I got a refractor.
Yeah, the $50 might have been after she broke the scoring record.
Yeah, but it was around like 2022, so I offered him $20 for it, and I was like, hey, if you want more than that, you can keep it in your collection. But now I have two Caitlin Clarks, which I'm very
I'm not
excited.
gonna lie, I know I don't pay attention to women's college basketball at all.
Yeah,
She's just the only name I know.
yeah,
Well,
well,
other than Angel Reese, but I think she's also a I don't like her.
yeah, well, Angel, the way that she handled the championship last year was not great, and I think
That's an understatement.
yeah. So that to me, and I told people I would say that about if Larry Bird did it. I would say it if Steph Curry did it. I would say it if LeBron James did it. I would say it if Michael Jordan did it. So it was just it was a
There is such thing as being a sore winner. That's exactly what she was.
right, yeah. There and it was instead of celebrating with her team, she was taunting Caitlin Clark, and to me it was like it was more important to her to stick it in Caitlin's face than it was to actually celebrate the victory, which to me was kind of ridiculous. And I think when you reflect, I said my parents raised me a certain way, and in the way that they raised me, they might say, hey, in the moment you want to do this, but when you look back on that moment, it may be something that you regret doing. So before you do it, think about, is this really what I want to remember myself for? And so when I look back on that, I don't have any respect for the way that it was handled. But, you know,
Zero.
it's hey, people do things, people make decisions. At the end of the day, can you live with it? Maybe she can. Good player, does some good things out there, but I it's hard for
I
me
don't even
to.
think she's that good either.
I just
That's the funny part.
But that's I just don't like watching.
I
I don't like
I hope
watching
they lose
people
early.
taunt people. I don't. I'm not a fan of the way that people know, and I'm very clear about this. The way that LeBron James, when he played the Toronto Raptors, and they're my favorite team. But this could be any team. I paid more attention to it, arguably, because it was my team. But the way that he left one of the games with like 4 minutes left on the clock, he just walked off the court because he was losing, and he didn't shake anybody's
But
hand.
that's who he is.
He just left. And to me, it's like you just showed every kid out there, every adult out there that looks up to you, that if you're not getting things your way, you could just be a jerk about it. And
Hmm.
and I was like, if he won, he'd be out there smiling, putting his arms around people. And yeah, when you lose, it's hard and it's difficult and it sucks. But at the same time, I don't remember the wins and losses with my team as much as I remember the people and the experiences and how I felt. And so I think it's very important in the moment to recognize the fact that how you carry yourself as a human being is how you carry yourself as a human being all the time. It's not like oh, you got me on a good day. Oh, you saw me when I wasn't being a jerk. Oh, you saw me when I was respectful. No, you need to be
Yeah.
consistent, and some people out there are not consistent, and some people are
Hmm.
consistent in a not great way. And I think LeBron has more than proven the fact that he really genuinely cares a heck of a lot about himself. And other people, I'm sure he does, but I watched a press conference where he talked about how great he was, and couple that with walking off the court when you're losing with your head down, not talking to anybody or shaking hands, you can have a great day. So, with continuation of these cards, I also got a Tank Dell rookie that I pulled from Rated Rookies. These are the ones that I pulled. Uh, A Chain. I always
Achan.
A-Chan. Yeah. I'm always fighting myself on this. I got his rookie card, and then I got a red, white, and blue refractor of Jaden Reed, which I realize now
That's a nice one.
thank you. I have to bring this to trade night because I had some Green Bay Packer people looking for stuff. This one's awesome looking. This is a hype refractor of Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I've gotten a bunch of like really nice Amon-Ra inserts. I got the electrified one from Donruss, and then here's my baseball. So I just opened, and shout out to Josh Gideon of GG Cards and Breaks for suggesting that I get this box over some of the other ones that I was looking at. I opened up a 2024 Topps, and I got a ton of cards in here. but I got this is a rookie stars of Major League Baseball, so I'm just gonna go through here and show them off. Fernando Tatis, Vlad. I'm a fan, so I got some Vlad here. And then I got these awesome looking refractors. This one's of the Astros. And then we
I forget what
have,
they call that insert.
I know,
Maybe like foil or something, maybe?
maybe. And then I got this blue rookie Jose Soriano, really nice looking card. This is the only one of that insert I got in the box. And then I got another rookie here, Henry Davis.
Okay.
I got another one of these awesome looking refractor inserts. I got
One of the easiest 100-mile-per-hour deliveries I have ever seen, Brusdar Gratterall. Easiest 100 I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I pulled that. I got a National League leaders card of Matt Olson, Kyle Schwarber, and Pete Alonso. I got a Pete Alonso Stars card. I got a Bobby Witt Jr. I got 2 cards of Shohei, one of him pitching, a Stars one, and one of him hitting. This is a cool one. This is the Home Run Challenge, pick a game for a shot to win. So it's a card, but I also get to scratch off the back, go to the website, pick a game, and if I win it, then I get a redemption.
Yep.
And then I got a Nathaniel Lowe of the Twins, and then I think my Stars of Major League Baseball are ones that they're just cool looking cards. Not that they're like crazy priced or anything, but these Stars of Major League Baseball refractor, I think I got a good lot of players here with like the Adley and the Pete Alonso and Vlad and Bobby.
No Ellie.
No Ellie, but I did. This is the last one I'm going to show you. I got a really cool blueprint looking card here of Pete Alonso.
Oh, that's cool.
So I pulled all of those, and I'm trying to. So I just got a couple more here. So those are the ones I pulled from the box, and then I in winning part of the giveaways. Oh, I got some more stuff. So in winning some things at GG Cards and Breaks through the NFL Panini Player of the Day, I got a bunch of those packs that you can't buy. But I did want to show these. I continue to open Diamondbacks. And I got a Diamondback in my first pack of that box of 2024 Topps, and I got a Diamondback in the last one. So I got Mr. Kelly here. I got Merrill Kelly. I got Alec Thomas. And then I got a Grand Gamers Clayton Kershaw insert. And then I got an Anthony Volpe Future Stars. Gabriel Moreno Future Stars. Grayson Rodriguez Future Stars. I got a Perez Future Stars. I got a refractor of Jose Quintana of the Mets. And then I got rookies of Marco Luciano, AJ Smith-Shawver. I got Alec Marsh, his rookie. I got Dane Myers rookie. I got Reese Olson. Who else did I get? Brendan White. I got Kessinger, Rafaela.
I don't think I know who that is.
Who else did I get? Andrew Abbott, Sal. Tell him you work for Sal. I got that one. I got a blue parallel rookie here as well. And then I got...
Who is that?
That was Baroa.
I've never heard of him.
From the Mariners. And then I got Andrew.
Sometimes in Topps, you get these guys that just appeared in the majors last year that you get rookie cards for, and I'm like, I have no clue who these dudes are.
Yeah. $75 a pop. And then I got Andrew McCutchen. I got an insert of him that was pretty cool looking. And so...
Yeah, back to 89.
Yeah, so these are the boxes. Those were from the boxes. And then from the packs that I won in the Panini giveaway, I pulled a Bryce Young rookie. I pulled a numbered Derrick Henry refractor, or chrome, I should say, and it is numbered to, if I could see it in the studio here, so elusive, 199. So there's that one. I got one of the guys I covered in college, Clayton Tune. I got another Dorian Thompson Robinson, a Jake Hayner. I got a CJ Stroud rookie there that I'm sure I can sell that one. And I pulled this guy, my second one, and Murph has my first one, Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform.
Yeah, there you go.
Which you cannot buy that card. So there it is. And being the winner from GG Cards and Breaks NFL Panini Player of the Day giveaway for the monthly grand prize, I won the James Cook auto numbered to 15 in the world, number 12 out of 15.
His auto looks like the pie sign.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, this is 12 out of 15.
It's a sweet card, but his auto looks like pie.
And I said when
3.1415, whatever.
3.14.
I don't know.
Yeah, but when they the bobbleheads from Battle of the Smithsonian at the museum when Einstein was reading it off, but I said when they started the giveaway and I was doing the promo for it, I was like, I would love to bring that card home. Little did I know that I would be drawn and then get the opportunity to bring it home when I got drawn again. So shout out to that. It was a very pleasant surprise. I had absolutely no idea. And then, what was it? Saturday. It's my last couple things to show. So many new things in the collection. Very excited. So this guy, and I should flip this over because it's got the price on the front. Or I'll just show it this way. I want you to be able to see.
It doesn't matter if it has a price on it.
Well, I just want to be able to show his face is covered.
Okay.
I have to break this thing open. Come on now. It's like stuck in here. I don't want to ruin the card. Anyways, it's Isaiah Stewart. I'll get it out at some point. It's a refractor of his rookie. He's from Central New York. And I got my first, because Josh let go of one of these. He has a billion of Aronde Gadsden. He has all the different colors. He's got the auto. This one is numbered to $3.99. And it is the purple Aronde Gadsden. And the last thing will make Murph laugh, because when last time Murph came to my house, he said, I don't care what I get, I got to get a big card. And he meant big like in price. And then I blew up a picture of him and turned it into a sports card. And then I went to GG Cards and Breaks trade night, and these gentlemen gave me this, a massive card of Corbin Carroll.
Oh, that's great.
So
that is great.
They had somebody come in, and he goes, hey, he's like, I got this big card. You know anybody that would want this? Like, anywhere you could bring it? And they're like, we exactly know. We know without doubt somebody that'll appreciate that. So at the beginning of trade,
that is sweet.
Yeah. So I got this massive card on the beginning of trade night of Corbin Carroll. It is a rookie card. So of all my rookies of Corbin Carroll, I now have this one in the studio. It's the first
Topps update, yeah.
First time I've shown it. So that's my lot. I know it's
sick.
A lot of stuff here, man, but I'm very excited. Basketball, baseball, and football all recognized in my new collection.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got, Murph? What do you got for us?
So I don't have a lot. I mean, I do have some more stuff coming, but
yeah.
I'll just go over some little. Well, they're not. I mean, there's some big stuff in here.
Okay.
I'll go over. There was a big trade that I made.
Okay.
On an app called Veriswap. I'll get more into that when I get to those cards, but met up with some friends that I know from, just collecting around the area. We met up in a McDonald's and just, hung out, made some deals and stuff, had dinner and everything. So, first thing I got was this 1982 Topps Cal Ripken Jr. rookie card, Future Stars.
Nice.
It's in one of these because I'm going to grade it.
Is it three?
It looks really good. I think it could probably be an 8 or a 9.
Is it 3 pictures of him?
No, it's 2 other guys on the card. I've never heard of the other 2, but it's his rookie card. It's like Nolan Ryan's rookie card with Jerry Koosman on it.
Okay.
This is a 1961 Bob Gibson. A little bit off center, decent bit off center. I'm a little afraid that they would throw an off center label on there, but I mean, it's in good shape. I mean, I think it's at least a 6. So, I mean, it's in decent shape. So I like that one. My dad loves this one. I I don't know what it's going to grade, but I am going to grade it. I think it might. Guy I know thinks it might get a 3. I don't really know about that, but the card itself is just clean. It's 1958 Willie Mays.
Oh, nice. Yeah, as soon as you said my dad loves it, I'm like, it's got to be a Met. So,
Well, technically he was a Met, so I mean, I
yeah,
guess that one counts. But Willie Mays was his favorite player.
yeah,
Um, this is another one that's really clean too. I mean, might only be a 6 or a 7, but 1975. This is George Brett's rookie card.
nice. What type of shape? That looked like, I mean, at a quick look, it looked like it was in. Can you show it again?
Yeah,
What shape is
it's
it?
it's not gem. It's maybe 6 or 7.
Okay.
There's some edge wear on the side. I think it's on this side.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some edge wear on this side over here. Um, but I mean, the corners are relatively sharp. I mean, I think a 6 or 7 is not completely unreasonable. Um, this I got from a friend of mine at a show a couple of weeks ago. This I'm taking to Philly for the Cherry Hill show that I'm going to be doing in March. If it holds over, then I'll take it to and eventually I'll be doing handing out flyers at different shows. But the Sports Factory, the Lehigh Valley Card Show, I am proud to be co-sponsoring it, which is really really cool. But it's just a Zach Wheeler number 249 tops now auto in his Phillies uniform.
Nice.
So I would have loved to get a Zach Wheeler auto in a Mets uniform for myself, but I needed to get one in a Phillies uniform because that would move well down there.
Yeah.
Did a Jalen Carter Origins auto,
Oh, nice.
not numbered. Eagles fans will get a load of that.
Yeah.
We've got a laser prism of Jalen Hurts, which I originally thought I was going to grade, and then I looked at the bottom right corner and I'm on the back, and I'm like, yeah, no. Laser prism Jalen Hurts. That I will keep raw. If someone wants to grade it, they can grade it. I don't think it's more than like an 8.
Yeah.
Uh, this is a cool one. There's no direct comps for raw. There's none of them really sold. But this is an optic rated rookie blue auto of Fernando Tatis. Now, I'm not a big fan of non-licensed baseball,
Yeah.
but this is a nice Tatis auto. It's numbered to 20.
It's a nice
And
refractor.
there's some that are graded. There's some that are graded that are on eBay asking over $300.
Yeah. That's a nice
So
refractor. I mean,
it's sweet. It's definitely sweet.
it's like the one I got the
Um,
thing from GG Cards and Breaks. I got the Miami Marlins. What was it? The RPA or whatever, and it's like part of the Marlin, and it was from one of the off-brand things. It was from not the non-licensed whatever, but it was the coolest patch I've probably ever seen. So
yeah.
that's how it happens with
Um,
some of these cards. They just, I mean, it's off-brand, but it's nice.
hmm All right. So now I'm onto the cards I got in the deal on Veriswap. Now, if you don't know what Veriswap is, it's like they're like a middleman for making trades of cards online.
Yeah,
It's good when you have like expensive cards or you just don't want to risk getting scammed or anything. So they do charge you money for it, which it's not the greatest thing in the world, but that's okay. So just to preface it, the cards I gave up to get this stack of cards here.
yeah,
I gave up a Bowman First Refractor PSA 10 of Jackson Holiday.
okay,
I gave up an Anthony Volpe Topps Chrome Black Auto. I gave up an Ethan Salas. What was it? Bowman Sapphire, SGC 10. And then I gave up, if you remember, the Jackson Holiday Bowman First Auto I bought at the Mega Show back in December. That graded a 9. I traded that, and I also traded Adley Rutschman. My Gold Wave Adley Rutschman auto is now no longer in my possession.
Are you okay with
I
that?
got a not. I'm okay with that. I got a good number on everything. I had said I'd never sell Adley for less than 1,000. Comps were going under that, and I got about 1,100 in value for it.
Oh, good.
So I am more than okay with that. I got 700 in value on the holiday, and I just bought back another one that I'm going to have probably sometime next week. In a PSA 9, I got I think I paid 640 for it. So I paid less than what I traded the other one for, which is great. Um, so I was very happy with the deal I got. So obviously that's a lot of money in terms of trade value. So it was about $2,300 worth of trade value, $2,300 worth of trade value. So I'll go from smallest to biggest and just show you what I got.
Okay.
I think I told you a little bit about these, but I didn't go, crazy in depth. So first things first, this is a cheap one. This was kind of a throw in. Club level select Justin Jefferson, die cut PSA 9.
Yeah.
It's like a $30 card, maybe. We've got Mosaic Silver, CJ Stroud, PSA 9.
That's nice.
There's a theme that you're going to see here.
Okay.
Prism Disco, CJ Stroud, PSA
Yeah.
9.
Okay.
Bowman First Auto of Gunnar Henderson, PSA
Gunnar.
8, unfortunately, but still.
Rookie of the year in the American League.
Rookie of the year, really, really clean card. I don't really see why it's an 8, to be perfectly honest. Maybe centering, but I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe crack it and resub it.
Yeah.
We got Jackson Holiday, 2023 Bowman Chrome Auto. That's PSA 9. Something in the back of the plastic here on the card. Let's see if I can get that out. It's just bugging me a little bit. There we go.
Yeah, I think Josh told me, he's like, you got a hair in one of the sleeves of one of the cards, and I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you got like a little stubble
That's
in
what
there.
it was, like a hair or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it
He's
was.
like, you got some stubble in
Yeah,
there.
the Jackson Holiday. So I told the guy, because he's an Orioles fan, I'm like, if I'm trading my Jackson Holiday, this Jackson Holiday needs to be in the deal. I need to get Holiday back.
Yeah.
So I did.
That's
And
what I
then
told
here's
you
the
I
two
do.
big ones.
You take. I've done that with Stroud. I don't think I've like let a Stroud go without getting a Stroud back. That's happened
Yeah.
twice.
All right. So then here is the two biggest cards.
Okay, I'm ready.
These are so the one's probably 850, the other's probably 750, 800.
Yeah.
We've got the 2023 Prism Variation PSA 10 of CJ Stroud.
Nice.
That's about an $850 card.
Let's go.
And then we've got a Bowman Chrome U from 2021 Bowman Chrome U. It is the 2000 Bowman autograph throwback of CJ Stroud, PSA 9, numbered to 99.
That's nice.
This is a big one. The plan is to get rid of those ASAP. But I wanted his Stroud stuff because it was all liquid.
Yeah.
Like the Rutschman was not. That was a card I was gonna need to I needed to find the right person for that. And luckily I did. But yeah, that was a card I needed to find the right person, and I did, and I was willing to move it because he was willing to give me a good number on it, and I was happy. I was perfectly okay with it.
Yeah, no, and that's and the thing is, like you said, I mean, and like you were talking about, I mean, $2,300 in value, but to get the CJ Strouds, and this is the thing, and I tell people this all the time. I was talking about it yesterday. I was like, I'm a Jaguars fan. I wear, when people say, "Who are you a fan of?" I literally just show my wrist. I'm a Jags fan. I'm an Arizona Diamondbacks fan. I'm a Raptors fan. Syracuse football, basketball, yada yada yada. Charlotte FC, Anaheim Ducks. But on the show, and when I'm living my job and doing my life, I might be wearing this, but I'm not going to pick Arizona to win every single game because I think it's a cardinal sin as a broadcaster to be partial at all at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to, my whole point of
although
this,
you did pick them to make a deep playoff run,
yeah,
which they did.
Yeah, which they did, but I also picked them to lose before they got there. So
you did.
You
picked them to lose in the NLCS.
Yeah. So there is that side of it, but the reason why I bring up this point is because of the fact that being a Jaguars fan, I have the utmost respect as a broadcaster and a human being, and because I have eyes, of CJ Stroud. And it's interesting that you have that and you brought that in because I am in. I don't want to tell everybody what I'm looking at on eBay, but I will say this based off this conversation. I'm in the looking stages of a CJ Stroud auto, and I got some
Ooh,
good CJ Strouds. I got a bunch of his
that's
rookies.
probably expensive.
Yeah, and then I ended up with pulling his prism break here of his rookie year with it's a refractor and got some good stuff. But and then I don't think I showed you this. Maybe I did, Murph, but no, I think I did show you this. It might get a 9, but it raw, I think they're like 150. And this is me, and Murph knows this because I've done this with him on the phone probably several times. And that is I go through like stacks of cards in my office and I find like really important cards. The Pat Mahomes 10 out of 10 gem mint from PSA, the one that I sent that Murph sent for me to get graded, I found
Mm-hmm.
that in a stack of cards, not even knowing that I had it. This was in a pack that I believe was inside of the drawer in my office, and it's Steph Curry's rookie card. So, and
Oh, I did see that.
yeah. So I
I
got
did see
Steph.
that.
I had somebody look at it at trade night. I told him like raw, I'm looking at 150 because that's like where it's at. I don't really want to take less, but I feel like I should really look into this. I had Josh look at it, but I think that I should consider getting this graded because even if it hits a 9,
Yeah.
these cards are ridiculous when it comes to price. So
I mean, I would guess if it's
yeah.
raw 150 and 9, it's got to be like 350, 400.
Yeah, no, and these cards, I mean, the price of it has. I mean, it's Steph Curry. It's not like this thing is gonna just like
You
tank.
brought that with you down here.
I did bring it with me down there.
Yeah, because I tried to trade for it.
Yeah, yeah. I put it in the case. Yeah, but I very much. I mean, I'm a big fan of Steph. I'm a big fan of Steph.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to I'm willing to part with there's certain things I'm looking for right now, and CJ Stroud's one of them. There's a Yankee auto that I'm looking for that I'll tell Murph off the air, but I'm not telling anybody on the air. He was not highly priced. Like, I don't know, I looked a year ago or 2 years ago or something. But now that I'm looking, I'm seeing some of it up, and I'm like, why is it up? Like, it's a guy who's passed away. His cards were very reasonable, but some of his stuff, I'm like, this seems a little higher than I want it to be. Also, I think I showed this, but I've talked about it a million times, and I'm like, I don't know if I've spent a lot of time with it on the show, but this is what I got the mega show in December. For those of you
Mm-hmm.
wondering about my Trevor Lawrence trails, that I not only found the RPA of my liking, but it's 2 jerseys, black and teal, a piece of a football that he allegedly has held, and a piece of his black helmet with his autograph from Absolute. And this beauty is right over my shoulder, literally sitting in an area of autos with my Nolan Ryan and my Syracuse signed basketball. It's the only card on the top. There's nothing
Yeah.
else with it so that it can shine here in the studio. But this is
The
one.
thing that was nice about that card when I found it for you was I was looking at it. I'm like, Absolute, like the RPAs from Absolute are not crazy expensive,
Yeah.
but they're really cool.
Yeah.
Like, hang on, I have, if I can reach them.
Excuse me.
Let me bring my PC box over here.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to have to buy more boxes, or else I'm just going to have a bunch of little boxes of cards all over my office. No, but I do. Like, I'm happy with it.
I forgot I got this.
Go
I
ahead,
forgot
Murph.
I got this. This
What
is
do
a
we
cool Brees Hall RPA.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Number 2. Oh, it's number to 10.
And before
Right, yeah, first off the press, number to 10.
before talking to Murph about this, I in the year couple years ago with the Jets, I predicted their first 4 picks, one of them being Brees Hall, and I am a fan of Brees Hall. So I very much am one of that's one of the ones where Murph and I cross where like he'll get something for his PC, but I gave Murph my 3 Brees Hall inserts, just gave it to him, and then like I said in that trade that I did with one of my Bijans, I ended up in the whole thing looking through it and saying, you know what, I want to bring a Brees Hall home and
Mm-hmm.
getting this cool refractor rookie. And I mean, his cards were in good shape, God bless. And so, you know, that's one that I might send. But yeah, Brees Hall is one of those guys where it's like it's in your collection as a Jets fan, but he's one that I low key collect because I was a fan
Yeah.
of his coming out of college.
So yeah, so like I said, this is my Brees Hall absolute RPA.
Yeah.
Now, this is a card that was maybe $50,
Mm-hmm.
I think. Not expensive. But it's sweet. It's got a tricolor patch here. You've got the football here,
Yeah.
and then a napkin patch down here. The napkin patch isn't great, but that's okay. Um, now, if you didn't know what a napkin patch is, it's basically it's one color. It's just the jersey. Not a great patch, but um, number to 99, Brees Hall RPA. Now, what makes this so much more expensive? Well, really good patch, number to 10. Um, I love this one. Friend of mine had this at his show. Basically, I was looking into it, and one of the things he said was like, "Yeah, I mean, I paid 100 for it. It's like I don't know exactly where comps are on it and everything right now, so
Can you hold it
um,
closer?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice looking card.
it's sweet." So, because I had another Brees Hall RPA that I'd gotten recently, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. So, funny enough, I traded it last week. But yeah, so I told him like, I mean, if I take this from you, this is going straight in my PC.
Yeah.
Like, this is better. This is one of the nicer RPAs of Brees that I've seen. And I mean, it's expensive. It was $100, so it was expensive. But so he said, you know what? If you're gonna put it in your PC, and I know we've made deals in the past. He's like, if you're gonna put it in your PC, I'll give it to you for what I paid for it. Which was he didn't have to do that, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Um, it does have some dings to it. Like this wouldn't grade all that well. I might still get this slab just because I want to. Right? I might throw it. I might get it thrown in an SGC slab just because I feel like it. Like it might only grade like an 8,
Yeah.
or a 7, but I don't care. I would just want it. I might just want it encapsulated.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like this top right corner in the back. It's definitely not great. I think bottom left corner is not ideal in the back too. I mean, it's not. It's in good shape. It's just not perfect. So
Yeah.
I mean, it pairs well with my Garrett RPA. They both look great. All right, so
Yeah.
I love
also
I
like
love
Garrett
both of
Wilson.
these. So I love both of these. They're easy PC cards for me. So
Yeah.
oh god, I forgot I had this one.
So, with that being said, the first hour here, proudly with you on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, DT, and Murphy, in connection with GG Cards and Breaks, showing them a heck of a lot of love because, well, they should have it. Why? Because they're an awesome, awesome sports card shop. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Experience the difference 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 to 5. And, of course, join us for trade night monthly. GG Cards and Breaks on location as well as at the Wildcat Sports Pub. Stay close to their social media at GG Cards and Breaks and at Gideon's Gallery for more information. You can, of course, follow us on our social media to find out when everything's coming up with GG Cards and Breaks. Being a big kid is fun. Experience what that's like heading out there. And they have been busy, busy, busy. Thank you, folks. Awesome. One of my listeners and supporters went in with his son when I was there over the weekend. So big shout out to Paul and your little one. And your little one, but your big one, right? Because it's like they grow up fast. So appreciate that
Mm-hmm.
time. Appreciate those moments. And thank you to GG Cards and Breaks for all that you do that we appreciate so very much. We'll be back right after this in hour 2. Murph and I got to talk about the college football playoff, the 5+7 format. What is the format? What are the rules? What does it mean? And does it change anything? Also, Major League Baseball spring training, and I got a gift from my dad this past Christmas that connects last season to this season, and I'll show you in the conversation coming up right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Hi, Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. It's the beginning of the week, which means it's DT and Murphy time, and we spent hour number 1 on our sports cards, the new additions to our collections, the trades and the deals that we have made, and that's all been proudly presented by GG Cards and Breaks. Go and find them on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. They're open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. They also have the While Supplies Last, and by the way, they came out on Friday, and there was stuff already gone on Saturday. The Disney Lorcana, now they're into their 3rd series, Into the Inklands. I have a awesome booster box full of packs. I opened 1 pack when I got home. I said you can open 1 before you go to bed. That was me. And as Anthony Campbell of GG Cards and Breaks will say, he's like, you have a lot of self-control. And I said, I will open 1 pack. I opened 1 pack, and this character was not in either of the first 2 series. And I got him in this one, and I went to bed going, if I don't get anything else in this box, I'm happy. I got a Pluto. That's what I wanted. So I'm very excited about that. I got more to open, and I got other stuff.
I have no idea what that means. I'm not gonna lie to
Pluto
you.
from
I know who Pluto. I know Pluto, but I have no idea what. I know nothing about the TCG and the Disney Lorcana and Pokemon and all that stuff. Nothing.
Disney
Absolutely.
It's kind of like the Versus game that I played with DC and Marvel back in the day. I wanted to show this, though, because this was part of what I got from GG Cards and Breaks in the NFL Panini Player of the Day. It's a nice poster of rookies. Bijan, Jameer, Quentin, Anthony Richardson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I was looking at this going, wow, I really like this poster. And then I thought this to myself. I'm like, where's CJ Stroud? But
I was thinking the same thing.
But yeah, so
it would have made sense if he was in the middle to take out Quentin Johnston.
Oh yeah. So I got that from them, and I did want to show this because I mentioned it, and thank you GG Cards and Breaks as well. We found a plastic sleeve to put it in, and then we found a plastic sleeve over the plastic sleeve to put it in because I haven't had anything for it. But my booklet of Malachi Richardson with 2 pieces of game-worn materials plus his autograph numbered to 49, number 39 of 49 from...
That's sweet.
From an awesome... Panini's got the National Treasures, which does some good work here. So this is my Malachi. It sits in my office in connection to my studio, and it's always like just wide open, and I'm like, I need something around it. I don't want it to get dinged. So now, thanks to them, I got something here. So, with that being said, big time shout out and thanks to GG Cards and Breaks. Time to get into hour number 2 with the College Football Playoff as well as Major League Baseball Spring Training. College Football Playoff, I'm going to run you through it. I'm going to tell y'all, we're going to do a little math exercise this morning. So I hope your brain's ready on a Monday. Happy back to school day. And so we're going to have a little discussion about what the new College Football Playoff format is. It's called the 5+7. And people might say, Dan, what in the you-know-what does that mean? What is 5+7? Well, in the 2024-25 season, we will be expanding from 4 teams to 12 teams. So 5+7 equals 12. To some maniacs in today's America, it can equal whatever you want. It could equal butterfly, but it doesn't. 5 plus 7 equals 12. And in 5 plus, I love how Murph shakes his head. I get him going on these things because we both think they're insane.
Like the whole 2 plus 2 equals fish or 2 plus 2 equals 5. Like,
yeah. It could equal
Shut
5
up.
if you want it to equal 5. I said, if that's the case, then
Shut up.
my bank owes
Math
me
is
money.
math.
Math is math. You can't, there's things you can't change, okay? There's things that just are. You can say it's not a tree. You could say it's an elephant, but it's a tree. And the tree's looking at you like, hey, nut job, keep it moving. So 5 plus 7 equals 12. That is the new amount of teams that will be in the college football playoff. What does the 5 mean? What does the 7 mean? The 5 is the automatic, they are the automatic bids. The 5, this is how it is. There are now 9 conferences. With the Pac-12 dissolving, there are now 9 conferences. I will tell them to your face. Write them down. SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, American, MAC, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and Conference USA. Those are your 9 Division I FBS conferences. Of those 9, they all play in conference championships. The 5 is stating, and they'll tell you it could be any one of the 9 BS. The 5 is stating that the SEC, the ACC, the Big 10, and the Big 12 will, if whoever wins their conference championship in football is going to get an automatic bid. The 5th, the last conference, it is one of 5. So the Sun Belt will play and somebody will win. Conference USA, MAC, Mountain West, and the American. But only one of those 5 conferences, only one of their champions each year is going to make it. Now, the committee will tell you that's not what it says, Dan. It says we're going to take the top 5 the top 5 highest ranked conference champions of the 9 conferences.
We all know what that
But
means.
we know what that means. So I'm
It's
going
to be the Power 4,
right,
and then the
plus
highest
1.
ranked group of 5 team.
Right, plus 1. And I don't like power and I don't like group, but this is what people, call them, and we will refer to this because you've come to understand it, unfortunately, because of the fact that I think, the media has drawn a line in the sand, which I think has created this belief that the UCFs of the world and the Cincinnatis and a lot of these good teams, Coastal Carolina, Boise State back in the day, don't have the respect that they should have because of this power versus group. But the 5 plus 7 has 5 automatic bids. Those 5 automatic bids come from the 5 highest ranked conference champions of the 9 conference champions. So this is where I'm going to give you an instance. Let's say, and I'm going to write it down here so I can follow my own bouncing ball while you follow it with me. Let's say that for argument's sake, in 2024-25, this is what it looks like. Let's say in the SEC, Georgia wins the conference championship in the SEC. And let's say in the final college football playoff rankings, Georgia's ranked number 1. Let's say in the ACC that Florida State wins, and let's say Florida State is ranked number 5. In the Big 10, we will have Ohio.
Let's give it Penn State. Let's do it. Let's give it Penn State.
We'll go
this.
Penn State. I think
for this exercise.
I think I did in another.
Because when are they actually going to win a conference championship? I'm sorry, Penn State fans.
I think I did.
Ohio State and Michigan are just too good.
I think I did this in another conversation. We will go Penn State. So we're going to go Penn State. We're going to say Penn State is ranked 10th in the country in the final college football playoff rankings. In the Big 12, I am going to, just for fun, because I, miss them and I love them, I'm going to say, Houston, Cincinnati, UCF. I'm going to say Houston wins the Big 12. And let's say Houston is ranked 7th.
Say 12th.
12th? Okay.
7, okay.
We'll say
Let's
12.
go 7. Okay, that's fine.
Well, okay, so we'll say 7. We're going to say 7. And
I
then,
think they would actually be ranked higher than this, but in general, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to put them 7. And then we're going to say in the American, UTSA, I did that in another exercise. I'll pick another one. In the American, let's say Memphis wins. So I'm going to say Memphis, and let's say Memphis is ranked 20. In the Sun Belt, I'm going to say Coastal Carolina.
Boise State still in this? Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah, so I'm going to
Boise
say
State's Mountain West.
Yes. So I'm going to say in the Sun Belt, Coastal Carolina, and they're ranked 7.
Where did Oregon State and Washington State go?
They didn't go anywhere. They've made a deal with the Mountain West, but they haven't joined anything.
Huh?
It makes no sense. I think they're trying to resurrect the pack. So the American, they're waiting for this thing to blow up, which I think it will. unfortunately. And then not wishing bad on it, I don't think that Stanford and Cal are going to stay in the ACC forever. So when we take a look at the Mountain West, I'm going to say Boise State. And so Coastal Carolina is ranked 17th in the final college football playoff rankings for this exercise. Boise State's going to be ranked 22nd. And who else I got? In the MAC, I'm going to say, shout out to my guy up in heaven. I miss you, brother. I'm going to say, in honor of Fred Reed, that Eastern Michigan wins the MAC, and Eastern Michigan's going to be ranked 41 in the college football playoff rankings. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who am I missing? I am missing Conference USA, which I'm going to pick Liberty. And I'm going to say Liberty is ranked 26th. So for this exercise, here are your conference champions. There are 9 conferences. There's 9 conference championships. Georgia wins the SEC. Florida State wins the ACC in this conversation. Penn State wins the Big Ten. Houston wins the Big 12. Memphis wins the American. Coastal Carolina wins the Sun Belt. Boise State wins the Mountain West. Eastern Michigan wins the MAC. And Liberty wins the Conference USA, CUSA. So what the committee will do from here in the 5+7 rule is they will look at the 5 highest ranked college football playoff rankings. They will look at the 5 highest ranked conference champions. And these are the ones that will get automatic bids. So, and remember, this is all human. So even though we're playing the games and they're winning the games, it still comes down to human beings sitting in a room ranking these teams, which is why I say that in the top 5, number 5 will probably almost always be anyone that's not the SEC, ACC, Big 10, or Big 12. So we look at this for argument's sake and we say, okay, of our conference champions, the highest ranked is who? Georgia, the ranked number 1. So they get the 1 seed. They get a first round bye. We look at Florida State is ranked 5. That's the next highest ranked conference champion. So they get the 2 seed. And even though there's other teams ranked 2, 3, and 4 in the final college football playoff rankings, it doesn't matter. The top 4 seeds go to the top 5 highest ranked conference champions. So Florida State jumps the at-large teams that are ranked 2, 3, and 4 because they won their conference championship. So they go to number 2. Number 3 goes to Houston, who's ranked number 7th in this exercise. And number 4 goes to Penn State, who's ranked number 10. Those are your top 4 seeds. They are automatically in, and they have a first-round bye. Here's where it gets crappy. Your 5th seed, so of the 5 remaining conferences, only one of their conference champions is going to get in. Memphis is ranked 20th. Coastal Carolina, winning the Sun Belt, is ranked 17th. Boise State's 22nd. Eastern Michigan's 41. Liberty's 26. So that means that your next highest ranked conference champion is Coastal Carolina, who is 17th in the college football playoff rankings in this exercise. So they get the 5th automatic bid. But
host.
No.
What?
No.
Wait. When did that change?
The 5+7 rule changed the game. So this is how it reads, and then I'm going to describe it. So this is how it reads for all of you. The 4 highest ranked conference champions will get the top 4 seeds in order and receive a first round bye. Those teams may be ranked behind other at-large teams, which I described, in the final selection committee rankings. But if a team is, for example, the 3rd highest ranked conference champion, it will jump straight to number 3. After that, the 5th highest ranked conference champion is not guaranteed anything other than a spot in the field. If the 5th highest ranked conference champion is ranked behind the 7 at-large selections, it will be the number 12 seed.
Okay.
So what exactly?
So I guess Coastal Carolina would be playing whoever the 5 seed is.
Probably Alabama, at Alabama.
Which would be whoever would be like the number 2 team in the nation.
Right.
And they would get smoked.
Right. So you look at this and say to yourself, based on all of this, based on what the rules are now, and based on our exercise as an example, so that you can follow at home or at work or the gym or wherever you are, or in the car. Don't be writing in the car. We'll help you out here. But The SEC's the SEC champion Georgia gets the 1, Florida State gets the 2. In this exercise, Penn State gets the 4, or the Houston gets the 3. Pardon me, Penn State gets the 4. So I was right on that because of their ranking in the college football playoff rankings. Coastal Carolina gets an automatic bid because they're 17th in the country above the Americans champion, the MAC champion, the Mountain West champion, the Conference USA. But Coastal Carolina they're not guaranteed anything other than a spot. They do not get a first round bye, and they're more than likely playing the entire tournament on the road. Even though they did what the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 champions did, it doesn't matter. They're being punished. Just be happy to be there crap that they give these people. So, when you look at our example, it states that the number 2 ranked team in the college football playoff rankings, the final rankings, the number 3, the number 4, the number 6
would be 5, 6, 7.
So the number 8. So let's go down the line here. So I need 7. That's 5. The number 9 and the number, is that one ranked 10? And the number 11. So in this exercise, the number 2 in the college football playoff final rankings, which are done by humans, the number 2 ranked team, the number 3, the number 4, the number 6, the number 8, the number 9, and the number 11 will all be at-large teams. All of those teams are ranked higher than Coastal Carolina's 17, which means that Coastal Carolina, as an automatic bid, will get the 12 seed, while the other automatic bids will get 1 through 4 and get to take a break and play at home. Coastal Carolina will play on the road as the 12 seed in the first round.
Well, the top 4 seeds aren't those the bowl games?
No, the top 4 seeds, they are. This is how it works out. In the first round of this.
First round they play at the home stadium, right?
In the first round, you play at the home stadium of the higher seed of the well, depending on how people look at it, you say higher for lower or lower for whatever. The lower numbered seed. So the 5 will be at home, the 6 will be at home, the 7 will be at home, and so on. So round
and then the quarterfinals would be the bowl games.
The
4 of the 6 New Year's 6.
The quarterfinals and the semifinals are a rotation of the 6 New Year's 6 bowls. And so that will be described in the next part of this exercise, which is the higher seeds in the first round host playoff game. Higher seeds in the first round host playoff games, either at their home stadium or another location of their designation. So they can choose to play somewhere else, but they get to choose. After the first round,
they'd play at home. Why wouldn't you?
Right. The 6 games that make up the quarterfinals and semifinals will be hosted by the traditional New Year's 6 bowl games in rotation. The rose, the sugar, the orange, the fiesta, the peach, and the cotton, which is a good thing because currently these New Year's 6 rotate the semifinals, which means 2 are in every year for toward the national championship. 2 are in the college football playoff semis. The other 4 are out, and then they just rotate. Now that we have a quarterfinal and a semifinal round in an expanded playoff, every single one of the New Year's 6 bowl games will always be involved in the path to the national championship. Here's the other kicker, though. And this is something that should make the American, the Mountain West, the MAC, Conference USA, as well as the Sun Belt even more upset if they're not upset already, which they should be. Notre Dame has a special rule. Notre Dame, since it's not a conference member, will never be eligible for a top 4 seed regardless of their ranking. However, the highest seed Notre Dame can have in the current format is the number 5 seed. They have not only agreed to this, but athletic director Jack Swarbrick was involved in crafting the 12-team playoff back in the summer of 2021. Here's the crazy thing. Notre Dame, more often than not, is ranked higher than they should be for things that they haven't necessarily done. Because
they also play a tough schedule, though.
Sometimes. And
almost every year, they're playing one of the tougher schedules in college football.
Paper. So, but the years that they've made it to the college football playoff, they have not, in my opinion, done enough. There was one year where they played a bunch of teams that historically are good, but are not ranked. They barely
because they make the schedules 10 years in advance.
Barely beat Ball State, barely beat Vanderbilt that year, went into the college football playoff, and got spanked. So, but here's my thing. And it's no offense to Notre Dame. It's just a special rule. And this is where it gets confusing. I'm not a Notre Dame hater, folks. I respect Notre Dame. I got people that are at Notre Dame. I'm just stating that they have an unfair advantage. And here is why. Notre Dame, I would venture to say, in most instances, will be ranked in the college football playoff rankings higher than a Boise State, a Memphis, a Coastal Carolina, an Eastern Michigan, or a Liberty. So, when Coastal Carolina, in our example, gets the 12 seed, they could be traveling to South Bend to play Notre Dame in round number 1 because Notre Dame can never get a top 4. Boo-hoo, they can never get a bye, but they could still end up playing at home over a conference champion. So they can't get a top 4 seed because they're not in a conference. So they can't get a perk of being a conference champion because they don't have a conference. But they have a perk of being above a conference champion and playing at home even though they don't have a conference. So it's just like speaking out of both sides of your mouth. Notre Dame can't be a top 4 seed because they don't play in a conference, so they can never be a conference champion. But they can be ranked higher than the 5th conference champion even though they don't have a conference.
Yeah, it's
out
pretty simple.
Talking out of both sides of your mouth. And so in this instance, this is where we would be at. Let's say, for argument's sake, that the number 2 ranked team in the nation is Alabama. Let's say the number 3 team is Michigan. Let's say the number 6 team is Ohio.
Well, that wouldn't. Well, based on how we ranked Penn State, I don't think that would be possible.
Well, let's just say that Penn State.
Let's just say it for argument's sake because we're already there.
Let's say that Penn State didn't win. Let's say they won more key games than Michigan did. Or let's say Michigan won more key games, but Penn State made it to the Big Ten championship. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, Penn State beats Michigan, and they go to the Big Ten championship.
But Michigan's ranked higher because they beat Oregon and Washington and blah, blah, whatever. So Alabama's the 2 ranking in the college football playoff final rankings. Ranked 3rd is Michigan. Ranked 4th, I'm going to say, is Clemson. Ranked 5th is Ohio State. Ranked 8th is Oklahoma State. Ranked 9th is I'm going to say
Florida.
Why
not?
I was just writing it, Murph. You and I are of the same.
They're never going to be there. They'll never be there. But let's go Florida. Why not?
No, I put them there. I said, why
it's the same reason we put Penn State there. So we know they're never going to be there, but why not?
I was going to pick another SEC school. I was writing down Florida when you said it. And let's say the number 11 is LSU.
Texas.
You said Texas? Okay. I'm going to say Texas. I'll
LSU.
I'll put LSU, but okay.
Yeah.
So what that means is the 7 at large, you got SEC.
We did not put Notre Dame in there for the record.
Right. We did not put Notre Dame in there for the argument here. So just to put this in, no offense to Notre Dame. I've talked to Notre Dame fans who know that they have a special set of rules. They're like the Liam Neeson of college football. They have a special set of skills, all that good stuff. So Alabama gets in, so that's an SEC. Michigan gets in, that's a Big Ten. Clemson gets in, that's an ACC. Ohio State gets in, that's a Big Ten. Oklahoma State gets in, that's Big 12. Florida gets in, that's an SEC. LSU gets in, that's an SEC. So for this example, there's 4 SEC schools out of 12, so they account for a third. There are 3 Big Ten. There are 2 ACC. And there are 2 Big 12. And there is 1 from the quote-unquote group of 5. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So in this case, in this scenario, Alabama would be the 5 seed, and they would play Coastal Carolina, who's going to get punished and go to Alabama.
And they would get absolutely smoked.
Right.
Like, with no contest.
Right. Set up for failure, as they always do with the teams that are not in the quote-unquote power conferences. Michigan would be the 6th seed.
Well, I mean, I guess in theory you could say to that, well, if they're so good, they would beat Alabama. But, you know, it's hard for anybody to beat Alabama, let alone go into Alabama and beat them.
All I'm saying is if you have the top 5 seeds and you treat them unequally, it doesn't make sense in even having that. It's like, oh, we'll just be happy that we gave you a spot. It's like, no, it's not acceptable. This whole treatment of everybody who's not the SEC, the ACC,
my
the Big 12,
only argument against those teams is who do they play? Nobody.
I will say that a lot of them do.
Let's just say for argument's sake, and this is partly why you see, Cincinnati and UCF going to the Big 12, and why we see conference realignment and everything. If you had the year the year that UCF was fifth and was undefeated,
Yeah.
the first time, the one where they claimed a national championship, they beat Auburn, who beat Alabama, so then they're the national champions, whatever. Had they played and beaten a big time Power 5 conference school, let's just say they played Miami, and Miami was still like a top 15 team. If they played and beat Miami handily, there would have been I think there would have been more of an uproar than there was. Because I don't even remember who they played that year, because I don't think they played anybody that was remotely good. Now,
UCF's first year of the 25 wins in a row, so this is one of the times in history where the committee looks like they were absolutely wrong. Auburn beat Georgia and Alabama that season, the only team to beat them both.
But they had 2 losses.
Yet Auburn didn't get in the college football playoff. So they
had 2 losses.
And Alabama didn't even play in the college football playoff or in the SEC championship. They didn't even play in the championship. They watched. So Auburn beats Alabama in the regular season. Auburn beats Georgia in the SEC championship. The committee picks Alabama and Georgia to go into the college football playoff. Screws Auburn. UCF plays Auburn, beats Auburn. So UCF beats the team that beats the 2 teams that play for the national championship that Alabama won. So in that case, UCF did do that. The A plus B equals, if A equals B and B equals C, then arguably A equals C. If you're going to beat the team that beat the team, then couldn't you have beat the team that ends up being the national champion?
But you also have to think of it this way. Auburn, most of the guys on Auburn probably didn't play. That's the problem with what's happening right now.
Well,
these dudes will just sit out the bowl games just because they want to go to the pros, or just because they just don't want to do it because they're not playing for anything.
But here's the thing.
UCF, all their guys played. They wanted to show up and beat Auburn.
Most of them did. But here's the other thing. Here's the kicker. The next year, as they're undefeated all the way to it, and they're 25-0, they play their 26th game, and they play LSU. They punish UCF again, and they send them to play LSU on the West Coast. They send them as far away from home as they can outside of sending them to Washington. And so they send them to play LSU, and they go, well, LSU doesn't have their starting blah, blah, blah. But Dylan Gabriel was barely a starter. I think he'd played like 3 games. And so he's in that game.
Because what's-his-face got hurt.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Milton.
Right. So he plays in that game as a relative newbie to college football as a starter. He goes and plays in that game, and they go, well, look at LSU beat them. Ha, ha, ha. They did it with 2 of their cornerbacks not playing, opting out, and blah, blah. But nobody gave anything to Dylan Gabriel being a young gun in this. They only lost by 8. So you got guys not playing on this side, guys not playing on that side. Mackenzie Milton's not playing. This is a Heisman type of guy. I don't care what anybody says. He was a Heisman type of quarterback when healthy. And so you got Mackenzie Milton not playing, and they lose by 8. They lose by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, 1 possession. And they're like, see, we told you. So they go 25-0. The moment they lose 1 game, they say, we told you so. They're not as good as the SEC. Go sit back in your chair, UCF, and keep quiet. And I'm like, they played with a backup quarterback. You didn't even let Florida State play with a backup quarterback. You didn't even let them do it. So in this case against LSU, it's like, what's the difference? They're playing with a newbie. Florida State would have been playing with a newbie, and you're like, well, we can't let Florida State in, don't want to embarrass them. And they didn't let UCF in.
And then they go crazy when Georgia beat them 62 to whatever.
Right, but here's the thing. You can't make an argument that these teams can't hang. You can't say UCF can't hang with LSU because they played their backup quarterback in his 3rd start, and he loses by 8. And they're how far away from home? Thousands of miles. They're on the other coast almost. So, I mean, you do everything in your power to punish the UCF of the world, to punish the Houstons, to punish the Cincinnatis, to punish the Boise States, to punish the Appalachian State, to punish the Coastal Carolina, to punish Liberty, but they still win. And so when people say, well, who did they play? The American Athletic Conference, their non-conference schedule is psychotic. They play the SEC, they play the ACC, they play Notre Dame.
Who do they play in those conferences?
They play good teams. They play the Penn States. They have played. Well, who did they? South Florida. South Florida played Alabama and almost beat Alabama. It was third game of the season or third week of the season. So they held.
I wish
them
they would have
20.
beaten Alabama, man.
But it's like you look at these games and you say, Memphis challenges themselves. They go and play UCLA. And then people say, well, UCLA is not that good of a team. Okay, Stanford hasn't been that good of a team, but Notre Dame plays them every year and they get clout for it. So when I look at this and you actually break it down, and I've done this with the commissioner, when you look at the American Athletic Conference, they play Florida, they play Alabama, they play Penn State, they play Ohio State, they play Michigan. It's like they challenge the crap out of themselves. And there's been games.
But the years they're good, they don't beat those. But the years they're good, they don't have to play those teams.
But there's also.
But the years they do have to play those teams, they lose to those teams.
They play these teams all the time. And then they play Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. And this is the thing that frustrates me. They'll lose to an Oklahoma, they'll lose to an Oklahoma State by like 3 points on the road, or they'll hang 3 quarters and they don't get anything for that. Yet Notre Dame loses to Cincinnati and they're trying to argue that Notre Dame should get in over Cincinnati even though they lost head-to-head, but nobody's given any type of credence or respect or anything to Tulsa, who loses to Oklahoma on the road barely. So, it's the quality loss. They'll argue a quality loss for Alabama or Clemson in certain years, but they can't argue when the American goes and hangs with these teams. And when they say to the American, you can't go to a bowl game, and you're not going to go to the Fiesta Bowl and beat Baylor, and then UCF with Blake Bortles spanked them. And then you look at other teams that have gone and beaten Louisville, beaten Florida State, you look at a Houston team that when they first started the American is going and beating these teams they're not supposed to beat. And UCF beats Auburn. And what does some talking head say? Oh, that's because Auburn didn't want to be there. They were pissed. They were, those guys didn't want to win. They just came out on the field and let UCF win because they just wanted to go home.
Can I go over with you a little bit about who they played that year?
Who? UCF?
UCF?
Yeah, you can go over it, and you can also go over the fact that they beat Auburn. But yes, go ahead.
So they did play a Big Ten team that year.
Yeah.
They played in Maryland, who consistently finishes near the bottom of the Big Ten almost every year.
Yeah.
They kicked the crap out of FIU. They beat the crap out of Memphis. They beat the crap out of Cincinnati. They beat the crap out of East Carolina. They beat the crap out. They beat Navy by 10. Kicked Austin Peay's butt. FCS school. Beat SMU, UConn, Temple, USF, who was ranked 22nd at the time. Memphis, who was ranked 16th at the time. Those were your were those your playoff games? No, they beat USF to get into the American Championship game, and then they beat Auburn. If I'm the committee and I look at that schedule,
yeah,
right,
mm-hmm.
I don't see one good team that they beat. Yes, they kicked the crap out of everybody they played, just about, but I do not see one good quality opponent that they beat that year. Other than Auburn, who was, that was in the playoff or in the bowl game.
In the bowl game, yeah.
Say what you will, heart not in it, whatever. Right? They did still beat them, but that's after the fact. After they picked the 4 teams. I want to see who they played the following year. So the following year, this is when they finished undefeated again.
Yeah.
Their big time, so their Power 5 conference opponent for the year was Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
Pitt, again, finishes consistently near the bottom of the ACC.
Yeah.
Beat the crap out of them. UConn, FAU, SMU, Memphis, East Carolina, Temple, Navy, Cincy, South Florida, Memphis. Kicks the crap out of all of them. But again, who did they beat? Then they go to LSU. They go to the Fiesta Bowl out in Arizona, and they lose by 8 to LSU. Granted, keep in mind, this was also Joe Burrow's LSU team.
Yeah.
So I think you got to give them a little bit of credit for that.
Yeah.
Hanging in. Now, granted, this was before Joe Burrow became Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But they still, they played them tough. That was their only loss. That was 25 in a row they won. Now they lose their 26th game.
Yeah.
But again, it was after the fact.
And I get your argument. I totally get your argument.
It's just they don't play any. And I think, to be honest with you,
but you say that they don't play anybody because Memphis, who has sent numerous players, including multiple starters at running back, just sheerly running back in the NFL, they've sent numerous players to the NFL with Justin Fuente, with Mike Norvell. Who's the coach of Florida State? Mike Norvell. Where did he coach 4 years? Memphis. How does he get the job at Florida State? The work that he does at Memphis. So when you look at Memphis with Justin Fuente and Mike Norvell, they're commonly not ranked. So when people look at that game from the outside looking in, they go, well, they're not ranked in the top 25. They must not be that good. Memphis had a ton of NFL players on those teams. And then you look at UCF. You look at, outside of that, Cincinnati with Luke Fickell, they had one bad season, his first season. They went 4-8 his first season. After that, they were out there putting that work in. And what do people say? Well, they got to the college football playoff, Dan, and they got blown out by Alabama. So now
they also that was 2020.
Right, but then they say
that was 2020, right?
They say point proven. We let him in, Dan. You wanted him in. Look at what happened. And I talked to Nick Saban after that game. And Nick Saban said, there is no doubt in my mind that team on the other side of me deserved to be here. That those guys, team
2021
should be here in the college football playoff. And I'm going to say this. When people say to me, Cincinnati lost to Alabama, so shut up, Dan, Cincinnati didn't deserve to be in there, my response to you would say, well, then almost no one in the country deserves to be in the college football playoff every year because mostly every single team Alabama plays, they beat. So if that's the argument, then Georgia shouldn't be in the college football playoff. LSU
so here's my argument.
Florida shouldn't be in. Clemson
So here's my argument as to why they should have been in that year. Now, you were playing UCF, who was only a year or two removed from that, your 25 consecutive wins.
Yeah.
Kick the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Beat Notre Dame in South Bend. Beat Notre Dame. Who else did they play? Oh, they have the rest of the conference schedule. And obviously we know that, some of those teams in that conference aren't the best. But beat Houston handily in the championship game.
Yeah.
But that win over Notre Dame is the reason they got in.
Yeah.
So this is my argument here. When you look at what UCF did versus what Cincinnati did, UCF did not have a legitimate, a really good quality victory. Cincinnati did. Cincinnati beat Notre Dame in South Bend, one of the hardest places to go play in college football.
Yeah.
And they didn't just beat them. They beat them by 11. They beat them pretty good. That win is what put them in the college football playoff. Now, they ran into Alabama, who was an absolute buzzsaw that year. I think they probably could have ranked them third. I want to go back and look at what the college football playoff was that year. But I want to go back and look at who was in it that year. So Cincinnati, Alabama.
It was in the college
Georgia
football playoff in 2017-18.
I will say this.
Yeah.
They should have been ranked third.
Yeah, they should have been.
I think they should have played Georgia and not Alabama. I think the committee kind of screwed them a little bit that way. However, because Michigan was really not that good that year. That was the first year that they had beaten Ohio State and Penn State, and they won the conference and made the playoff. They didn't deserve to be there. That's not, well, let me rephrase that. It's not that they didn't deserve to be there. They didn't deserve to be ranked over Cincinnati. I do think Cincy should have been ranked third that year. There's an argument you could have put them, but I tell you what, the reason why they didn't rank them third is because Georgia was ranked third. They didn't want to put Georgia versus Alabama because they knew that was going to be their national championship game. That's what they wanted.
Yeah, because they set it up to be what they want it to be.
What I think it should have been, honestly, would have been Alabama 1, Michigan 2, Cincinnati 3, Georgia 4. Or you could have gone Cincy 2, Michigan 3, Georgia 4. Cincy 2, Michigan 3. Either way. But that's what I'm saying, though. Cincinnati had a legitimate big victory in that year. They beat a legitimate quality opponent in their non-conference schedule and beat them pretty good, too. That's the reason they got in. Now, the year prior, when they didn't get in, now granted, they were ranked higher after their first one, where they went, they ended up losing to Georgia in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, and I was at that game,
3.
and Georgia won by 3 by having a couple plays down the stretch in the last couple possessions to save them. Then that team went on to win a national championship. So I just want to also reference the fact that the year that Cincinnati didn't get in, the year before they got in, they should have been in that one too.
But here's the thing.
By how the way
this was the problem, because that was the year that you did not play any non-conference. The only non-conference teams that you could have played were independent schools. They played Army, independent. They played Austin P. I'm not sure why they played them.
Yeah.
But still, there was no non-conference schedule that year, essentially. So for a team like that, you can't. There's not much you can do.
But here's
they
the
didn't
thing.
play anybody.
I get your argument. And that
was also the issue with the Big Ten getting
it's
in.
also the argument.
They only played 6 games.
It's also the argument with the Big Ten. Okay, in the Big Ten in 2020, let's go back to the COVID year for the Big Ten. Let's go back to the fact that the Big Ten wasn't playing. Let's go back to the fact that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 said, no, we care about the health and safety of our student athletes more than anything. How dare anybody play football? Then they watched everybody play football, saw everybody making money, saw everybody on television, and said, well, if the SEC and the ACC are doing it, we got to get back on track here, and we got to do that. To hell with safety and precautions. Let's go make money. And the Big Ten goes back into it, and the Big Ten gets ranked. Not ranked a little bit. Here's the thing. If you're not playing football, you're not ranked. They got ranked in the top 25. And not in the top 25, in the top 8, in the top 10. In Michigan, UCF is... Yeah, right. And Michigan is in a place where they go up... And I've said this a million times, but this is sick. If people don't believe me, you think I'm nuts. You cannot refute this statement with logic. Michigan went up 4 spots with a record of 0-0 and jumped UCF, and they weren't playing football. How do you go up 4 spots with a 0-0 record? That makes no sense. And by the way, Ohio State wasn't supposed to play in the Big Ten championship because you're supposed to play.
They didn't play in the Big Ten championship.
No, they were supposed to play in the Big Ten. They did play in the Big Ten.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's right.
They did play in the Big Ten championship. They weren't supposed to. I think it was Northwestern that was supposed to play in the Big Ten championship. This is what happens. They didn't want that. They wanted Ohio State. Ohio State played 5 games. They had a bunch of games that were canceled. So they let them in. They were supposed to have a prerequisite of how many games they had to play. They didn't play that amount of games. They played 1 game less. They still let them in over the team that should have been in. So they made a special rule for Ohio State to get in the Big Ten championship. Then, allegedly, they moved the college football playoff semifinal because there were some guys out with COVID on Ohio State, and they wanted to make sure that those guys were going to be active for the college football playoff semifinal. So in that year, preferential treatment to the Big Ten, preferential treatment to Ohio State getting in the Big Ten championship, preferential treatment to Ohio State getting healthy to play in the college football playoff, and people think that I'm out of my mind.
You also got to look at who's in their conference consistently. Now, granted, the Big Ten did not have a good year.
No.
Michigan was 2-4. Penn State was 4-5. Northwestern was 7-2. Northwestern was pretty good that year.
Yeah.
They were a good team that year. Northwestern beat Wisconsin. Northwestern beat Michigan State. Northwestern beat Iowa, who's consistently usually pretty good. and then went and won the Citrus Bowl after they lost to Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. But if there was a team, to be honest, that year, if there was a team from the Big Ten to make the playoff, I think it should have been Northwestern.
Right, but they didn't even want Northwestern to play in the championship game. They didn't want Northwestern to be a part of it.
Because they would have probably played Penn State in the championship game and beat them.
And Northwestern is not marketable like Ohio State is. So that in their mind, I'm not speaking from Dan Tortora, I'm speaking from the nation's look at the college football playoff. Now, go back to Notre Dame. Let's go back to Notre Dame. Let's go back to Notre Dame in 2017 and say, okay, Notre Dame. What was Notre Dame doing in 2017 when UCF was this good team and they weren't getting any respect? Who was Notre Dame? What were they doing in 2017? Well, they played Temple.
10-3.
They played Temple. They blew them out. They lost by a point to Georgia, but it doesn't matter if you lose by a point or 3 points to Georgia, right? They proved that with Cincinnati. Doesn't matter. Not supposed to matter. Even though it does, but it doesn't. They beat Boston College unranked, Michigan State unranked, Miami of Ohio unranked, North Carolina unranked. They beat USC in a year where USC was ranked in the top.
They didn't just beat; they kicked the crap out of USC.
Right, in South Bend. So that was a home game. Then we look at this and say, okay, they beat NC State, who was ranked 14th at the time. They beat Wake Forest; those were at home. They lost to Miami on the road, got blown out to Miami on the road, 41-8.
That's an understatement.
Right? They got blown out. So look at their games. Look at Notre Dame in 2017, 2018. When we talk about UCF is blah, blah, let's just look at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's big-time wins came where? At home. They beat USC at home. They beat NC State at home. But when they played ranked teams on the road, and they played Georgia, they lost to Georgia at home in South Bend. But then they go on the road to play a number 7 Miami, get blown out, and they go to play a number 21 Stanford and lose by almost 20 points. So look at that Notre Dame team. And even if they say, you know what, Dan, the schedule looks better. They played 5 ranked teams. They lost to 3 of them. The only ones that they beat were at home. They got spanked on the road when you look at them, and then they go and play LSU, and they win against LSU in the bowl game. And kudos to them.
But that's why they finished 11th in the poll.
Right.
They finished 11th because they didn't. They did not deserve to be anywhere near the playoff.
Right. So you look at Notre Dame in that. Then you look at Notre Dame in the years where they have made it. And I want to go back. So let's go back to
2018.
Yeah. So let's go to 2018, the year after the schedule I'm just talking about. And I've done this on the show many times. Let's look at who they beat. They beat Michigan in their first game. Okay. Jim Harbaugh criticized by his inability of beating Notre Dame in these rivalry games. So they win 24-17. Where's that game? South Bend. Right, at home, because they play well at home. Then, because I'm talking about these wins on the road. Where are the wins on the road? I'll get into it. So Notre Dame plays Ball State and beats Ball State by 8 points at home in South Bend. Then they play Vanderbilt at home and barely win by 5. Then they play at Wake Forest and blow Wake Forest out. None of those 3 teams are ranked. They play Stanford. Where's the game that they won against a ranked team? Where is it?
At home. Blew them out, though.
Against Stanford. So I give them credit, but it's at home. Then they go and play Virginia Tech on the road, 24th in the country. They beat them substantially by 22. Then they play Pitt at home. They beat Pitt's unranked. Navy, unranked. Northwestern, unranked. Florida State, unranked. Syracuse at the time was ranked 12th in the country. What up, kids? And they beat them, again, where? South Bend.
Neutral site.
Who didn't play in that game?
Neutral site game.
I'm sorry, but who didn't play in that game? Do you know? Who didn't play in the
Syracuse? You're the one who knows Syracuse. You know the answer to that.
No, I want to just milk this.
I have no idea.
Right,
I don't know.
Who doesn't play in this Syracuse game? Oh, their starting quarterback, who's on my Mount Rushmore of Syracuse quarterbacks, if there were 4 to be on that list. Eric Dungy didn't play in the game. He got hurt. So they get blown out. People go, oh, they blown out Syracuse. 12. Look at those. A team is ranked 12th in the country. No. You played Syracuse sans Eric Dungy, and everybody that knows anything about football knows without Eric Dungy, this team maybe wins 2 games a season. And then you look at they beat USC, who is unranked on the road, and then they got blown out in the college football playoff by Clemson 30-3. So when I see this, and I see that Ohio State has scored 0 against Clemson, and I see that Notre Dame's gotten spanked the both times they've been in the college football playoff, and I see that Washington got embarrassed by Alabama, all I have to say to you is not in every year, but in the years in the of the BCS with Boise State.
I am not,
times.
No argument for me that
but,
they should not have been in that.
But I'm going to hit you.
I will tell you that.
But UCF,
they deserved it because they were 12-0.
Right. UCF
and had good quality wins.
Right. UCF for those 2 years, Cincinnati for 2 years, Boise State in the past during the BCS. You cannot, unless you can score less than 0, Murph, unless you can score negative points against Alabama or Clemson, you cannot argue that Notre Dame deserved it over these other teams when they get, and people aren't talking about how Notre Dame got blown out by Clemson, but they're talking about how Cincinnati got blown out by Alabama. They're not talking about Washington got blown out by Alabama, but they're talking about the fact that UCF didn't deserve to get in. So all I'm saying is this, especially in recent history in the Big Ten. There's only 3 teams ranked in the Big Ten for the last 1, 2, 3 years, right? Most of the time, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan and Ohio State are ranked in the top 4. As long as they don't lose, they stay in the top 4. Penn State will go 10, 18, 16, 14, 11, 9, 10, whatever. But they're all in that. Look at this year. Look at last year. Who do they play? They play 9 conference games, Murph. They play 9 conference, not 8 conference. They play 1 less non-conference game. 1 less opportunity to play a team that possibly could beat them. They play all these games in their conference.
3, 4, 5 really good teams every year.
But the thing is Ohio State and Michigan are ranked high. They're always ranked high. Whether they earn it or they don't earn it, they're always ranked high. Penn State's ranked high. Penn State will barely beat this team, barely beat that team. They're ranked high. So all I'm saying is, for argument's sake, when I look at the schedule, the American is going to have 1, 2, maybe 3 teams ranked in the top 25, probably 2. So no matter who they play, the Associated Press, the press, and the coaches have decided these teams have no merit. Even when they win, even when they go undefeated, even when they win multiple years in a row. What did everybody talk about with Georgia? They won 29 straight games. When UCF won 25 straight games, why weren't they carrying it like that? Well, they don't.
Who did Georgia play?
Right. Okay. But how many teams, let me ask you this question about you at UCF. How many teams lose their entire coaching staff, everybody, and go undefeated 2 years in a row? Has there ever been a team in any sport ever in the history of anything that has gone undefeated, lost their entire coaching staff, and went undefeated with an entirely new coaching staff?
I thought they didn't lose the coaching staff till 2020.
They lost their coaching staff. They had in the first one, in their first undefeated season, they had Scott Frost. In the next undefeated season, they had Josh Heupel. So
Scott Frost got pulled after the first undefeated. I thought he got pulled after the second one.
No.
Or got went over there after the second
undefeated season. Scott Frost had 2 seasons there, and then he moved on to Nebraska, which was heartbreaking. And then Josh Heupel came in and went to work as well. But what I'm saying, I'm not saying that.
And didn't Scott Frost get fired at Nebraska like 2 years later because Nebraska was terrible?
They gave him some time, but that's the problem though.
But I think that was a whole with those 2 teams. I think that's a situation where it wasn't the coach; the players were just good. Like those were just good teams.
But what I'm saying, let me be clear. I am not saying that the SEC is not the best conference in college football. I am not saying that the Big Ten does not have talented teams. What I'm saying is, when you look at Notre Dame's schedule some of these recent years, the names look good, the teams weren't that great. When you barely beat Vanderbilt and Ball State in 2017, what are we talking about? And then when you look at 2018 and you say, what did they do to get in? And then they get in. And they get they get absolutely just beaten down. And then you look at the Big Ten now, and you say Ohio State and Michigan, they start the season 2-3? Ohio State's 2, Michigan's 3, or 2 and 4.
But look at their recruiting classes. They consistently bring in the best recruits.
Right, and that's great.
They consistently have the best players.
But that's great. That's all well and good. Alabama brings in a lot of recruits, and with the transfer portal, they lost a ton of people. Clemson's supposed to bring in Florida State's in the top. Well, with Jimbo Fisher, they're in the top 2. With Mike Norvell, they're up there too. Texas A&M's up there, but Jimbo Fisher still gets fired. The reality of it
I still don't understand.
The reality of it all is that the Big Ten can play 9 to 10 unranked teams a season and have no punishment. But the American can play 9 to 10 unranked teams, and they could go, see, that's why they suck, because they don't play
But the
anybody.
difference is, what are those other 3 games?
But
For the Big Ten, it's Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Northwestern, who's consistently solid. Look at your conference opponents are a big part of it, right? And listen, I've got all the respect in the world for the American Athletic Conference. They're, if there was a new Power 5, they would be the 5th conference. I can tell you that right now.
Right.
Because there's no doubt in my mind they are the next best conference in college sports. No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, college football. I think it's a pretty strong argument that the Big East is a little bit better than them in basketball.
The Big East makes it so there is, if you're going to call it power in college basketball, there's a Power 6. And what that means to me is simply this. If you look at just for a quick thing here for college basketball Division I men's, 68 teams, correct? There's 32 conferences, which means that there's 32 automatic bids, which means for those of you playing the home game, there's 36 at-large bids. Of those 36 at-large bids, of the 32 conferences, 6 conferences are making up the majority of those 36 at-large. And because the Big East is the Big East, that's why they're such a big part of this. I can argue that 26 of the 36 at-large go to the Power 6, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and the Big East. So that leaves of all of this, if there's 32 conferences and 6 are making up 26 of the 36 at large, that means that there are 26 conferences fighting for 10 spots. That's insane.
Yeah.
But outside of this past year with Michigan, who, by the way, had their coach suspended twice for breaking rules, which that doesn't matter. But when you look at Ohio State, who won the first one over Oregon, and you look at Michigan, who won the latest one, when has the Big Ten shown up in the college football playoff? The SEC, this is my thing. The SEC, we talk about who do they play? Who do they play? Ranked or unranked, who do they play? But the SEC backs it up.
But realistically, too, if you look at
the Big Ten doesn't have
the Big Ten and the
players.
SEC, you could make an argument that in any given year, the 2 best teams in college football are in the SEC.
I can make an argument a couple years ago that
you could make an argument that the 4 best teams in college football are in the SEC.
But that was my argument a couple years ago. My argument was that if Florida had not lost 3 games, my argument was that the college football playoff should have been 4 SEC schools. There's been an argument before from me that Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and Florida at a certain point should be in the college football playoff because they were the best teams. They were the teams you wanted to watch.
2020.
I'm not sitting here and saying that top to bottom, the American is better than the Big Ten. What I'm saying is that there have been plentiful years of recent history where I can line up both of them and go, they played 2 ranked teams, they played 2 ranked teams. Well, okay,
where were they ranked?
Here's my perfect example.
The Big Ten will play teams ranked in the top 5.
Yeah, but why? Not because they did anything. Ohio State is ranked 2. Michigan is ranked 3. They play 9 unranked teams before they play 9, 10, 11 teams before they play each other. What are they doing to be ranked in the top 3? If you play 9 unranked teams and you're ranked 3rd in the country, you can't rank Memphis. Let's say Memphis goes 9-0 against unranked teams and Michigan goes 9-0 against unranked teams. Michigan's 3rd in the country. Memphis is 42. So
Memphis would be ranked at that point.
They should be, but they're not always ranked. It doesn't always
Memphis
happen.
would be like 16 at that point.
They should be, and I agree with you, but that's not the case. That's why I'm making the argument.
That's what. No, yes, I mean they would be.
No, they would.
I mean we saw it.
We've seen
literally
it
this year.
We've seen it in moments. We haven't seen it throughout. UTSA gets disrespected too. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna tell you. To me, when Cincinnati didn't get in, and Georgia got in, or no, I'm sorry, when Cincinnati didn't get in and Ohio State got in.
We can make all sorts of arguments about the COVID year because realistically, neither of those teams should have gotten in. Florida should have gotten in as the first 2-loss team. Well, they had 3 losses by that point, but realistically, There is a very strong argument to be made that Florida was the second best team in the country that year.
But to make the argument about
I would have put them in over both of them,
even
with 3 losses.
To make the argument over Ohio State, or to make the argument of Ohio State and Cincinnati, I go back to a criteria moment that they did in college basketball. And here's the criteria. They say to the committee chair of the college football playoff, why did Ohio State get in over a Cincinnati? Why is Ohio State in, not a Cincinnati? They say, well, Ohio State went undefeated. That was 6-0. That was 6-0. I believe Cincinnati,
I think it was either 8 or 9-0.
No, this is going in. So
yeah.
So they go in and they say Ohio State went undefeated. I say, okay, they played less games than Cincinnati. So this is the criteria. I'm just speaking to the criteria of 2 teams in the same state. They say, well,
true, but at the same time, like that is everything kind of got thrown out the window for that year. It's hard to make an argument using that year though, just because there were no non-conferences played. You just had to pick who they thought the 4 best teams were, right? Texas A&M should have been in that year,
right?
Texas A&M had 1 loss.
Texas A&M,
Alabama,
Texas A&M, and Cincinnati.
They beat Florida that year. They beat. I don't think they beat Georgia. No, they did. Maybe they did. I don't know if they played them that year. But realistically, if my argument was, let's just say Florida hadn't beaten LSU. We all know what happened there. Wilson threw the shoe, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. They lost that game because of stupidity. They didn't lose that game because LSU was better than them. The game was over if Marco Wilson didn't throw that stupid shoe. But let's just say that they win that game, right? They have 2 losses.
Yeah.
Them and Texas A&M should have been the last 2 teams. Notre Dame shouldn't have been in. They didn't really play a great schedule that year. They should not have been in. Ohio State should not have been in. Right? That's 2. That is Texas A&M and Florida right there.
So
Florida lost to Alabama by 6. Texas A&M, I believe, lost. I mean, I think they lost by double digits to Alabama, but not like huge.
But
they had 1 loss.
I want to tell you the criteria.
Both of those teams should have been in. It almost should have been 4 SEC teams that year.
Right, but and that year I had Cincinnati and Texas A&M. So, and that was the year that Cincinnati barely lost to Georgia when I was at the Peach Bowl, which is the first event I did in almost a year on site on location. Thank you to Atlanta, Georgia, and thank you to the Peach Bowl Inc., led by Gary Stoken, who allowed for an event to be there live where people could actually go. Thank you for the opportunity to go there, and thank you for finding ways to safely bring us all to an event where we could be on site on location. This was the argument when they were speaking to the chair. There was 3 pieces of criteria, and this is why I bring it up in 2020, because the 3 pieces of criteria, when you hear them, you would get confused, I think, if you're a logical person. They said, well, you got to go undefeated. And you're only playing your conference this year because it's COVID. You got to go undefeated in the bubble. Gotta. Ohio State went 5-0. They went undefeated.
Did they even play Penn State and Michigan? No, they played Penn State. They didn't play Michigan. State. But Michigan was also terrible that year, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
But they say, okay, you got to go undefeated. Okay. They did. They went 5-0. What'd I tell you? They played 3 less games. Cincinnati went 8-0. They said you got to win your conference championship. Ohio State got a special rule to get into theirs over Northwestern. And they won it, but they had a special rule to get in. So they win their conference championship. So did Cincinnati. Then they said, well, how did you play against the ranked teams? And Penn State was ranked and they beat them. And Indiana was ranked and they beat them. So they had 2 wins over the top 25 for Ohio State. Cincinnati had...
Well, if you count Northwestern, that's 3.
Well, no, they had it. This is before going into that. Let's just say
going into the playoff. The conference championship games count.
Right. No, they do count.
3.
So I'm saying of that.
So the 6-0 had 3 ranked wins.
So they had 3. And then at certain times within this, there was 3 ranked for Cincinnati. So when they looked at one, this was the criteria. What did you do against the top 25? Both of them went undefeated. Cincinnati had put themselves in positions above that because of the teams that they had. And I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I don't know They might be doing this on AP and on coaches poll, but Cincinnati had one more ranked team that they beat. So Cincinnati against the top 25 had one more ranked team that they beat. Ohio State had one less.
They had 4 ranked wins.
So yeah, so it was like 4-3. So they said you got to go undefeated. Cincinnati went 8-0. Ohio State went 5-0. You got to win your conference championship. They both did. Ohio State got special rules to get in theirs because they were supposed to qualify with 6 wins. They only played 5 games. So Cincinnati overall had 3 more wins than Ohio State did. Cincinnati fair and square made their conference championship. Ohio State had a special rule. They both got in. They both won the conference championship, and Cincinnati played more ranked teams. So in the state
Who
of
else
Ohio,
got in that year? It was Alabama.
It was Alabama. Yeah.
It was Clemson.
Alabama, Clemson.
Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Ohio
right?
State. I think so. Yes. Yeah, it was Notre Dame. So
That's right.
But when you look at this,
Because they never should have been there anyway.
what I'm saying though, the argument that I'm making is when the committee chair sits down and says, "I'm looking at 2 teams in the state of Ohio. I'm looking at
They should have been there.
I'm looking at 2 teams.
I forgot because Notre Dame played in the ACC and they beat Clemson that year.
No, they beat
Notre Dame did deserve to be there. Okay.
No, they did not.
Okay.
No, they did not.
They beat Clemson, who was ranked number 1 in the
no,
nation.
no.
They should have been in that
No,
year.
go back. You got to go back. They played Clemson twice. They beat Clemson in South Bend without Trevor Lawrence because he wasn't allowed to play in the game because he was.
And they lost in the conference championship.
And they got blown out in the conference championship.
That's right, because DJ played in that game.
They did not deserve to be in the college football playoff because they beat Clemson.
You're right.
They beat Clemson in South Bend without Trevor Lawrence in some BS thing where Trevor Lawrence is standing on the field wearing a mask and 10,000 fans storm the field and they're running by Trevor Lawrence, and I'm sitting here going, he wasn't allowed to play and he's wearing a mask because of exposure to someone who had COVID and he was in the same place, yet there's 10,000 students that are literally blowing by him, bumping into him, and this has nothing to do with COVID. Wow, that's a fun rule.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is
I forgot about that.
In the state of Ohio, you said they got to go undefeated, win their conference championship, and play against the top 25 and beat the top 25. And Cincinnati did all of it, but they did it better than Ohio State. That's all I'm saying. That year. I'm not saying every year. I'm saying in 2020, the criteria that the committee chair gave was great criteria for Cincinnati, not for Ohio
Now
State.
I remember because I was pulling for Texas A&M over Notre Dame.
Yeah, and Texas A&M was my 3 seed in my prediction. They were my 3 seed.
But there was a scenario where they could have easily just said
Cincinnati was my 4.
Notre Dame, or not Notre Dame, Cincinnati and Ohio State both get in, which I think would have been the best case scenario.
Well, if you're gonna argue that criteria, then
because kick Notre Dame out,
Ohio State
and put Cincy in. That would have been your 4.
It's like
now
Ohio State made your criteria.
Cincinnati
made it more.
Would have also gotten routed by Alabama that year again. But again, that was Alabama's best team they ever had.
Who doesn't lose to Alabama outside of Reese? Like
besides, no. I'm not saying they would.
No. But what I'm saying is the argument of if you lose to Alabama, you don't deserve to be in. That means that 99.9% of the country.
I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying you are. I'm saying 99.9% of the country does not deserve to be in the college football playoff if the prerequisite is if you lose to Alabama, you don't deserve to be there. Because the entire nation has lost to Alabama outside of Georgia and Clemson.
Yes.
For the most part.
So basically, this particular year, what I'm saying, you kick Notre Dame out, you put Cincy in. Ohio State probably would have been 3, Cincy would have been 4. Ohio State still loses to Clemson.
Yeah.
That still would have happened. Actually, wait a minute. Ohio State was ranked 2nd, weren't they?
Probably. That's where they always are. So
Ohio State was ranked 2nd.
In 2020?
Yeah.
Ohio State was...
I think they were ranked 2nd.
At the end of the season, they were ranked 10th. Let me see here.
They were ranked 3rd. Okay. Clemson was ranked ahead of them.
Yeah, because they came in ranked in the top 8.
So if we went by undefeated, right?
Yeah.
The standing should have been
Yeah, they were 3rd.
Alabama, Ohio State, Cincinnati. You could flip-flop 2-3 however you want. And then Clemson. But they wanted a Clemson-Alabama national championship again.
Of course they did.
That was the second time.
Right.
So they wanted that.
Right, and they never want Alabama and Georgia to play each other in the semifinal. So
well, they wouldn't have played each other because Georgia wasn't in that year.
No, but I'm saying in general, if you look at recent history,
Yes.
to go with your point, they never want Alabama and Georgia to play in a semi.
They don't want them to play each other because they think that's the national championship game if they let the teams go.
Right.
So, in the best case scenario, you would have had Ohio State and Cincinnati play each other.
Right.
Now, do I think Ohio State would have beaten Cincinnati? Yeah, probably. But Cincinnati would have at least had their chance to beat them.
Right.
I don't think they would have.
But they would have had a
because
shot.
I do think Ohio State was a better team that year.
But they had a shot.
But they would have at least had a shot.
Yeah. I agree.
So I think that's what would have made a lot of sense because then you would have had an Alabama. Well, yeah, you would have had an Alabama-Ohio State national championship at that point, which I don't think they wanted to see. I don't think they wanted to see that. I think that's why they put Clemson against Ohio State. But then you've got Alabama playing Notre Dame, and we all knew Notre Dame was going to get blown out anyway because they beat a Clemson team that was minus Trevor Lawrence.
That was their only quality win.
Clemson in the ACC. Yeah,
their only quality win was against a team without Trevor.
I mean, they played a couple other
at home in South Bend.
They played,
but that was their win. And when they asked the committee why did Notre Dame get in?
They played North Carolina. That was their only other top 25 win.
But
Florida State wasn't ranked that year, so they beat up on them.
They asked the committee chair why he let Notre Dame in, and he said they beat Clemson. And I was like, bro, they just lost to Clemson. They beat Clemson in South Bend at home without Trevor Lawrence. They got blown out in the ACC title game with Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
So how can you sit here and go, we let them in because they beat Clemson? Okay, they beat Clemson without their starting quarterback, who was considered the number one recruit of every position put together as a whole, the number one overall recruit in the nation, the number one pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars shortly after. And you're saying, oh, well, and he literally said, he goes, they beat Clemson, that's why they're in. And I'm like, but they lost to Clemson. They're 1-1 against Clemson. They're not 2-0 against Clemson, and they're not 1-0 against Trevor Lawrence. They're not 2-0 against Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
so it's crazy for me. It's crazy. For me, this is that 2020 playoff will always, bother me, just because of what could have been. I am telling you right, and you could say this. I mean, you could disagree with me because of the Cincinnati thing. Had the Florida Gators beaten LSU and then had the same result against Alabama, I still firmly believe they would have been the first and only two-loss team to make the playoff. I think their case would have been stronger than Cincy and Ohio State. I also think their case would have been better than Clemson because they played the number one team in the nation who dominated everybody all year long.
Yeah.
Absolutely dominated. Right? Dominated the national championship game.
They beat Georgia then.
Wait a minute. They did beat Ohio State because Clemson lost. Oh, I forgot about that.
Florida in the 2020 season, Florida lost to Texas A&M on the road by 3.
By 3.
They beat Georgia on neutral ground 44-28.
By 20 points.
When Georgia was ranked 5th in the nation. They lost by 3 to LSU.
16 points.
They lost by 3 to LSU, and then they lost to Alabama 52-46 in a shootout in the SEC championship.
There is no doubt in my mind that team was as good as advertised and would have made the playoffs had Marco Wilson not thrown the shoe. They would have, if they won that game. So they were ranked 6th going into the LSU game. Had they beaten LSU with one loss, they probably would have jumped up to at least 4th. That would have been, that's my guess.
Yeah.
They were never beating Alabama. We know that.
No, but if they had beaten LSU, they would have had one loss going into the SEC title game, and
losing by 6 to what I think the committee found out was the best team that Alabama had ever put together.
But when you look at it and you say, okay, there are 3 losses that season, 3 points at Texas A&M, ranked 21st in the country, 3 points at home against LSU,
Who was later eventually ranked 5th.
6 points against Alabama, who was ranked number 1 in the country. So they lost their 3 losses. 2 were by a field goal and 1 was by less than a touchdown. And I argued that year as well, if they only had 2 losses, you had to put them in. The 3rd loss killed them. Now, granted, they lost to Alabama, who I agree with you, was the number 1 team in the country. They lost to Alabama, who is a very strong team.
Alabama was never losing. Florida was never going to beat them if they played them in the playoff.
But they
were never going to beat them.
They had to be in a place where they beat Texas A&M or LSU, because I don't fault them for 52-46 against Alabama.
No. Absolutely. That was the toughest game Alabama played all year.
That's right.
They walked through the season.
I think they proved themselves. I think Florida proved in that game that going up against Alabama the way that they did, they had to have 2 losses. They had to have 2 or less. They had 3. But Florida, absolutely, that was the year. That was the year that I said
that's
Alabama,
the only 2-loss team that would have been considered.
Right. That was the year that I think I said Alabama, LSU, not in this order, but I said Alabama, LSU. I said Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, and Florida were the 4 teams that I would put in.
It wouldn't have been LSU that year.
But
that was the year after Burrow went to the NFL. They weren't as good that year.
I might have been the year that I might have been how they started. I don't know. But I said that there was 4 teams that should have gotten in. And in that year, I argued Texas A&M was in, but if Florida had 2 losses or less, if they had 1 loss going into the game against Alabama, which I don't fault them for losing, when I look at that and I say they lost by 6 against number 1 ranked Alabama, who was so good that year, because this is what people said, COVID changed things. No, it didn't. Clemson was still Clemson, Alabama was still Alabama, but Florida had themselves a grand year. If Florida had found a way to not lose to LSU or Texas A&M going into that game in the SEC,
if they didn't have
for
lack of a better term,
a
moron on the field throwing a shoe, as I've said before, that play literally would have ended the game.
Right.
LSU had no more timeouts. Florida was up by 3. They marched down the field and scored.
Right.
Sorry, they were up by 4. They were up by 4.
If they still
LSU marches down the field and scores.
If they still lost
they're up by 3.
As long as they had 2 or less that year, I would have put them in. So we agree on that.
And honestly, yes, that would have knocked out Cincinnati. Cincy probably would have gotten knocked out in that scenario.
No, they could. I mean, they could have taken out Texas A&M and or Notre Dame and then put in Cincinnati still as a 4.
Well, Texas A&M wasn't in.
I would have put them in.
The only teams that I would have been okay if they only had 2 losses. The only teams I would have been okay with being in over Florida were Alabama or Clemson. Actually, I don't even know if I would have wanted to put Clemson in over us. But Alabama, Clemson, Texas A&M.
I think I had Alabama, Clemson, Texas A&M,
and
Cincinnati.
No, I probably wouldn't have said Cincy back then. Now maybe I'd say Cincy, but back then I would have still been.
If you looked at mine, I had Alabama, Clemson, Texas A&M, Cincy. So if Florida beat Texas A&M, then Florida and Cincy would have gotten in to my prediction because of how I had everybody slated. We got to take a step aside.
Texas A&M definitely deserved to get in that year.
They did.
Over Notre Dame.
They deserved to get in, so did Cincinnati.
But yeah, we got to take a break.
We're going to take a step aside. We're going to come back and do like a really quick baseball thing because we got to hop out of here. But we'll be back right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open 7 days a week if you're a sports card collector or if you're just thinking about collecting for the first time ever. It is time to get yourself out to GG Cards and Breaks with fantastic service, an awesome array of singles, graded cards, packs, boxes, and new inventory coming in all throughout. You never know when something's going to come in, when they're going to buy. They just got a ton of Shohei Ohtani rookie cards, and they all went into the case last week. You never know when something new's coming in, be it a single, a pack, a box. The new Disney Lorcana, while supplies last, Into the Inklands is there now, and they got a ton of product on the day that it was unveiled this past Friday. So make sure you get yourself over there for Pokemon as well as Disney Lorcana. Basketball, hockey, baseball, football, all sports, soccer, AEW, and more on site, on location at our sports card shop of choice, GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, right off of Teal Ave. Open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 to 5 on Sundays. With that being said, Murph and I are going to jump into spring training really quick here. I do want to get to one thing, but Murph, I'm going to hand it off to you here for the couple moments that we have in closing on your thoughts on spring training so far.
I mean, it's great to have baseball back. That's the biggest thing that I will say is, baseball's back. We're starting to see the new players with their new teams, and seeing, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Juan Soto in his Yankee uniform.
Yeah.
That was fun to see. The Yankees played a split squad game yesterday. Lost to the Phillies in Clearwater, but beat the Blue Jays at home, where Juan Soto hit his first home run as a Yankee to left center off the scoreboard at George Steinbrenner Field, which is pretty darn impressive. But yeah, Saturday they won 22-10. Safe to say they had a heck of a day at the plate. Trent Grisham hit a home run. Spencer Jones went 3 for 3 with a home run and 4 RBI. They looked real good. Really, really good. Mets playing the Cardinals, nothing crazy. Sunday, we saw Francisco Alvarez go to the opposite field, hit a home run to right field. We also saw Jose Butto look good in his first spring training outing. ESPN keeps crashing on me for whatever reason. I don't think they like me very much. But I'm using the ESPN app, so it's not really letting me do anything. But, as far as, I'll go up to Boston with the locals up there. So, Red Sox beat the Cardinals beat the Braves on Sunday.
Yeah.
And lost to the Orioles on Saturday. Did they play a split squad? No. So they haven't played at home yet at JetBlue Park, which is, if you didn't know, is a sort of a replica of Fenway Park, just a little bit different. They did play split squad on Sunday, so they beat the Twins at JetBlue 8-6. So I was mistaken there, so I apologize for that. But yeah, Rafael Devers looks good. He already hit his first home run of the spring. Lucas Giolito started for them in the game against the Twins, 2 scoreless innings with a walk and a strikeout. Looking good for them so far. I'd like to see Lucas Giolito do well for that Red Sox team, because I think he was one of the most underrated signings of the offseason. Came off a really bad year with the White Sox and then got traded. Or he was good with the White Sox, then got traded and was horrendous in the second half. But, just a few injuries to note. Obviously, if you're a Mets fan, Kodai Senga has got an issue with his shoulder. They said a right shoulder strain, but they said it was in the back of his shoulder, which I've heard rumors that could be a precursor to a rotator cuff injury, and God, I hope not. That would be a tremendous blow for the Mets. That wouldn't be great. We have seen, guys like Robbie Ray, we know is going to be out for the year. I believe he had Tommy John last year. Shane McClanahan from the Rays, they're saying out for the year. When did he have Tommy John surgery? I don't know when he had Tommy John surgery, but he's out. They're saying out for the year. I thought he had Tommy John in like June, which is strange. But you saw the Cubs just re-signed Cody Bellinger, 3 years, $80 million. That made all the sense in the world for them.
There was a second Tommy John surgery.
For who?
McClanahan.
It must have been his second one.
It was his second.
He might have had one when he was a prospect.
Yeah, he's expected to miss the season.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, the thing that's interesting to me though is the free agents that are still on the board. Blake Snell has not been signed yet. Jordan Montgomery has not been signed yet. JD Martinez has not been signed yet. We are seeing a lot of guys that should be on MLB rosters that are still free agents right now. So, let's see. Matt Chapman as well does not have a team yet.
There was like a short list of like a big 4 with like Chapman and Snell and some of the guys out there. We will be following that. We will be getting into some things. I do want to hit this really quick. This was given to me from Christmas from my dad, and I did not know he got this. So actually, no, did I kind of see it by accident? But my dad gave me this for Christmas, and it was when we went down to the World Series. So you can only get this there. It is a World Series pin of 2023. And then it has the American League champion Texas Rangers and the National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks. So this is a commemorative set of the two champions and then the World Series here that my dad got on site, on location at Chase Field with the Diamondbacks. So not to cut you off, I know that we're rocking and rolling here today. I did get the card out, so now you can see Isaiah Stewart, the refractor. I was able to break it out of the thing, and I think it's in good shape still. But with that being said, for Murph and I, sports cards, college football playoff, and Major League Baseball spring training, as well as honoring family. Thank you to my dad for such a memorable trip, and thank you to my great aunt Sue for all the awesome memories she gives. Murph, as always, I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Yes, sir. That was a great show. I know we were texting back and forth during the break, but that was a great show today.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to have. See, look at this Congress. We had a conversation where we agreed and disagreed, but we listened to each other, respected each other's opinions, and even at times changed our opinion based on more fact. Isn't that a miracle, Congress? Watch today's episode of Wake Up Call and pass some bills that help people out. Maybe, just maybe, you can learn something from listening to the other side of the argument. Thank you, Murph. I'll talk with you soon.
Sounds good, sir.
Take care. That coming here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, we are with you worldwide on so many different outlets. You can hang out with us on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can search us on our wonderful archives. Once the shows go live, we add to the archives throughout the year. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. On any one of these, search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also go to your search engine, Safari, Google, so on and so forth, and simply look up Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or you can look at my name, Dan Tortora, and you will find our broadcasts as well. Big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Mon Pa's Kettle Corner Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicoli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and we're going to have to make some more space here because we got some news coming up this week on Friday, March 1st at noon. But we are the proud exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins. It is Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can find your Dolphins hanging out with us on Wednesdays during Dolphin Time, with the first and third Wednesday of each month being AD and DT with Athletics Director of Lemoyne, Bob Beretta, and myself, Dan Tortora. And on the second and fourth Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. This Thursday, February 29th, all day for 24 hours, is Giving Day for Lemoyne, and we're going to be showcasing that this week on this edition of Dolphin Dive coming up. So very excited. Well, AD and DT, Dolphin Dive, a lot of great things coming up, including my special with the incomparable Dick Kenyon. So very excited to share those with you. You can find all of our Dolphin content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe and hit the notification bell. Find the Lemoyne Dolphins playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage underneath the exclusive partners tab on our website. And for more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com. As always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bobcats men's and women's basketball, baseball, men's and women's soccer, esports here with us in a spotlight that you won't find anywhere else called the Bobcat Buzz. Go to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, hit subscribe and the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Bobcats on the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com and the exclusive partners tab on our website as well. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and shout out to the Bobcats baseball team that just had their opening day doubleheader yesterday. God bless for that. with that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank Murph for being with me. Of course, DT and Murphy starting off your weeks here on Wake Up Call exclusively. Shout out to GG Cards and Breaks and all of the new cards. There's so many, but all of the new cards that we got from GG Cards and Breaks. A lot of great stuff going on here, including my mega card, my big old card that I got from Anthony and Josh. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for always going the extra mile and being amazing with your customer service. I appreciate you, as you know. And then we talk college football playoff, the new format 5+7, as well as the rules and what does it mean for everybody. What does it mean for Notre Dame? What does it mean for each of the 9 conferences? And Major League Baseball. A little bit of talk on injuries, different things going on. God willing, guys will get healthy, get well, and stay well in Jesus' most precious name. And celebrating something that my dad got me that I get to put here in my studio, because I love you, Dad, and I love you, Mom, and I love you, Aunt Sue. This one's for you, and so much more. I love you. God bless. And may we all stay close to God, closer and closer every day. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. God bless.